It's not about wearing a crown, it's about what you do with it. And when we talk about King Charles and his focus on the Muslim community, it's not just a headline, it's history in motion. This man didn't suddenly wake up one day and decide to pay attention to a group of people for political points. No, this connection runs deep. It's been built over years, long before the throne, long before the camera started flashing. While some leaders wait until they're empowered to start learning, Charles was already walking the path, quietly, consistently, respectfully. He's been engaging with Islamic scholars, visiting mosques, speaking about the beauty and complexity of Islamic culture when it wasn't trendy, when doing so didn't get applause but raised eyebrows. He studied Islamic art, admired Arabic calligraphy, and even learned a bit of the language. That's not just curiosity, that's commitment. That's a man who's not acting royal, but living the responsibility of being a bridge between worlds that too often misunderstand each other. Now, some folks want to call it strategy or say it's political, but you don't fake decades of genuine engagement. You don't just pretend to understand a faith unless you've taken the time to sit with it, listen to its people, feel their stories. King Charles isn't leaning in because it's convenient. He's leaning in because he knows respect can't be demanded, it's earned. And to lead all people, you have to see all people. This isn't about appeasement. It's not about checking boxes. It's about honor, honoring the contribution of Muslims to British society, to history, to the culture of the world. It's about understanding that peace isn't built on empty words, but on meaningful connection. And in a time when division gets the loudest mic, Charles has taken the quieter road, a deeper road, one that says, I see you, I value you, let's build together. Because true leadership isn't loud, it's consistent. And when you lead with real respect, people don't just follow you, they walk with you. You earn respect by giving it first. That's something King Charles seems to understand on a level most public figures never reach. See, respect isn't something you can wear like a robe or demand like taxes. It's something you give, especially when nobody's watching. And Charles, he's been giving it to the Muslim community long before most people even noticed. This isn't some reaction to current events or media trend. This is a man who's taken the time to understand the faith, the people, and the deeper values that bind us all together. While some leaders meet communities only during crises, Charles has shown up in times of peace, when the cameras weren't rolling, when the news didn't care. That's real. He's walked into mosques, greeted imams with warmth and familiarity, and spoken of the spiritual richness found within Islam. And when he does that, he isn't performing, he's participating. There's a difference. That kind of consistency builds trust, not just with individuals, but with entire generations who've often felt overlooked or misunderstood. And maybe the most powerful thing, he doesn't just speak the language of respect, he acts it. Whether it's defending the rights of Muslim communities to practice their faith freely, or highlighting the intellectual contributions of Islamic civilization to science, philosophy, and architecture, Charles puts his respect into motion. He acknowledges the richness of Islamic heritage, not as something separate from Britain, but as something part of it. That's not just respect, that's inclusion. It all paints a picture that goes deeper than politics or public approval. It speaks to a worldview that recognizes the Muslim community not as a group to manage, but as a vital part of the nation's identity and future. And in a world where division often comes easy, choosing unity requires intention. King Charles's attention isn't performative, it's purposeful, because in the end, respect is a seed. And when it's planted early, nurtured with truth, and protected with action, it grows into something stronger than politics, trust. And trust, that's how you lead a nation. You can't walk into the future if you ignore the footsteps behind you. And when it comes to King Charles's focus on the Muslim community, that statement hits harder than most realize, because this isn't just about the present moment, it's about a long, tangled history between Britain and the Muslim world. A history filled with complexity, with pain, with power, and with moments of brilliance that too often get swept under the rug. But Charles isn't pretending that past doesn't exist. No. He's looking at it straight in the eye, See, the British Empire once spanned across vast Muslim lands, from the Middle East to South Asia, from North Africa to Southeast Asia, that left behind more than just architecture and borders. It left behind wounds, cultural ties, shared struggles, and stories that still echo in families across the world. Now, you can ignore that, or you can try to make sense of it, learn from it, and move with more understanding into the future. King Charles seems to be choosing the second. And what's powerful here is that he's not rewriting history, he's acknowledging it. He's recognizing the centuries of interaction between British and Muslim civilizations, from trade to war to cooperation. And he's doing something many don't. He's treating that history not as a burden, but as a bridge that can help foster connection instead of conflict. Because when you recognize where you've been, you can better understand where you're going and who's walking that road with you. That's part of the hidden truth. His focus on the Muslim community isn't just about modern politics or current demographics. It's about reckoning with a past that still shapes the present. It's about building a future where communities aren't just tolerated, but truly understood and valued. That takes humility, that takes leadership, and maybe that's what makes this moment different, because in acknowledging that shared, complicated history, King Charles is doing what many before him wouldn't. He's listening, he's learning, and in doing so, he's opening the door to a more honest and united tomorrow. Unity isn't weakness, it's strategy. And when a leader like King Charles chooses to focus on the Muslim community in a time of global tension, that's not just a kind gesture, it's a calculated act of wisdom. Because let's be honest, the world right now is loud with division. Lines are being drawn between faiths, between cultures, between people who used to break bread together. And in the middle of that noise, Charles is choosing to speak with action, not just words. He's choosing to show up, to listen, to reach across those lines before they become walls. Now, some might say it's symbolic, but make no mistake, this kind of connection is strategic. You don't bring people together by force. You bring them together by respect, by inclusion, by creating a space where people don't feel like outsiders in the land they call home. That's how peace is built, not through speeches, but through sincerity. And that's what Charles is doing when he prioritizes dialogue with the Muslim community. He's reinforcing a message that's long overdue. You belong here, you matter, you're a part of the story. And this isn't just good for communities, it's good for countries. A nation that embraces its diversity is stronger, more resilient. Division weakens the foundation. But unity, real unity, that builds something unshakable. So when King Charles stands beside Muslim leaders, supports Muslim-led initiatives, or attends events during Ramadan, it's not political theater. It's leadership rooted in stability, because he knows that when you invest in trust, you get peace in return. This isn't softness, it's strength. The kind of strength that doesn't come from shouting the loudest, but from standing firm in principle when the world starts to waver. The kind of strength that says, we don't need more fear, we need more understanding. And that starts from the top. It starts when those in power don't hide behind protocol, but step forward with purpose. So no, this isn't random, this isn't new, and it's not temporary. This is what leadership looks like when it dares to care, especially when it's easier not to. Sometimes diplomacy ain't done at a podium, it's done at a dinner table. And King Charles understands that better than most. See, real connection doesn't always come from official speeches, press releases, or formal ceremonies. It comes from presence, from breaking bread with people, from showing up in spaces where others stay distant. That's the kind of quiet diplomacy he's been practicing for years with the Muslim community, a diplomacy built on cultural respect, shared values, and honest engagement, not handshakes for the cameras. You look at the steps he's taken, visiting mosques during Ramadan, attending Eid celebrations, sitting with scholars and community elders. That's not obligation, that's intention. That's a leader who's not just representing a nation, but reaching into the soul of it. Because Britain today isn't made up of one voice, it's a chorus. And the Muslim community isn't a guest in that house, it helped build it. King Charles knows that. And instead of drawing lines between us and them, he's folding the table wider, making space for stories that need to be heard. He's shown deep appreciation for Islamic architecture, culture, even faith, long before it was considered acceptable by mainstream politics. That matters, because when a leader acknowledges the beauty of another culture without trying to reshape it, it sends a message: you are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be respected. And that kind of cultural diplomacy plants seeds that no policy ever could. It tells young Muslim kids in Britain that their identity isn't something to hide, it's something to hold with pride. This approach, it builds something stronger than headlines. It builds bridges quietly but firmly. And in a world where people are tired of empty promises, that kind of action speaks louder than words. And that's the part many miss. Real diplomacy isn't just international, it's local, it's personal. It's about making people feel seen, heard, and valued. That's how communities thrive. That's how nations heal. And so when King Charles continues to engage with the Muslim community, it's not performance, it's principle. It's not politics, it's personal. And that's where the real power lies. The truth doesn't hide. People just stop looking. And maybe that's what's happening when folks talk about King Charles, a focus on the Muslim community like it's some mystery or political stunt. But if you really look, if you step back from the noise and watch the way he moves, it's not hidden at all. It's been in plain sight. The respect, the connection, the understanding, it's been building for decades. The truth is, Charles has always seen the Muslim community as more than just a statistic or a segment. He sees it as a living, breathing, contributing force in the heart of modern Britain. It's not suddenly paying attention, he's just being consistent. From his interest in Islamic architecture and philosophy to his quiet visits with Muslim leaders and his vocal support for interfaith understanding, this isn't new. It's just becoming more visible because now he wears the crown. But the man wearing it hasn't changed. His beliefs, his values, they were shaped long before the world called him king. And the reason this focus feels powerful now is because it's rare. It's rare to see a leader who doesn't just acknowledge diversity, but connects with it on a human level. It's rare to see someone who doesn't reduce a community to headlines or stereotypes, but actually lifts it up, honors its depth, its beauty, its struggles. King Charles is doing that, and he's not doing it for applause. He's doing it because he understands that a future built on division is no future at all. The so-called hidden truth isn't about secrecy, it's about sincerity. The truth is, Charles sees what others choose to ignore. He sees the Muslim doctors, teachers, artists, scholars, and families who are woven into the fabric of the nation. He sees the generosity during Ramadan, the peace taught in the Quran, the resilience in the face of prejudice. And he's choosing to reflect that back to the world, not as a favor, but as fact. So no, this isn't a shift in direction. It's the unveiling of a path he's walked quietly for years. And now that the world is finally paying attention, the message is clear. Some truths aren't hidden. They've just been waiting for someone brave enough to say them out loud.